Hi, everybody, and welcome to the premiere, the debut, as it were, the pilot of 321 Sports Talk. I'm John Parenti. Mike Reed is alongside. Johnny Boots is at the controls. Johnny Boots, how are you?
I am wonderful, guys. How are you? Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
For now.
How about good morning?
Yeah.
Let's start with that.
Let's not get ahead of
start with
ourselves yet, huh?
Good morning.
We're at Dan's place, Newsnack Hill Road in West Greenwich.
Great place.
Yeah, I'm hungry already.
Yep. I've been coming here since Dan's was just that hole in the wall down the street.
Boots was just talking about
Right.
that.
Yeah.
You know, Dan, if you can hear this, they used to, if you bought 10 pizzas, you get the 11th one for free. And that kind of went by the wayside since he became big time. So, wouldn't that be nice to the residents of West Warwick? I'm West,
In West Greenwich, yeah.
Greenwich.
Now, you can
Anything
walk
west
here, right?
of Cranston, huh?
You walked here, right?
I walked here. Yep, that's true. I'm really close. So got some briars and some brambles, but I got here okay, safely. A couple of scratches.
We have a lot to talk about. We've
Yeah.
got local stuff. We've got college stuff. We've got the Heisman Trophy being awarded today, and I have no idea who's involved.
Okay.
I know you got your Notre Dame shirt on. And,
I do have my Notre Dame shirt. It
I
was a
feel- I
talking
feel-
point.
I feel-
We're going for the talking point. With
I know. That's a lot to talk about, too.
Yes. Sure.
It's a lot to unpack there,
Michigan.
Michael.
A
Michigan.
lot going on with Michigan. Somehow
Yeah.
the two schools I'm affiliated with throughout my coaching experience are kind of in turmoil right now. All we need is Georgia to kind of go by to something happen to Kirby Smart.
Hi, this is Dan from Lathrop Insurance. In this challenging insurance environment, Lathrop Insurance can be your beacon in the storm to help you find the coverage you need at the right price. Now, more than ever, you need a partner in the insurance industry that can work with multiple carriers to make sure you have the right coverage at the right price. Lathrop Insurance carries home, auto, and business insurance and can be reached at 401-596-2525. We've been supporting the local community since 1939, and we look forward to working with you.
What is Cousin Johnny doing now? This is ridiculous. What the?
Oh, pooper's full. Oh, hey, Clark, I didn't see it. It's Cousin Johnny Mac here.
That's my opinion. This is not the opinion of the football committee.
You want to do a full disclaimer?
No, this one I should though, because I think it's a white elephant in the room, and no one really wants to mention it. But a lot of the rules and a lot of the things that have taken place in an effort to kind of carve out carve out those parochial schools, and so I think a lot of the confusion and a lot of the muck and mire of RPI is directly related to what we're doing there to try to kind of make it tasteful to be in the same division as Hendrick and LaSalle if you're a public school. Now, what's happening is North Kingston's growing, and some of these schools like Central are growing, and so Cranston West has done really well. So, you want to carve those parochial schools out altogether, or do you want to compete against them? So you can't really have it both ways. And so that's why the Interscholastic League kind of continues to keep those schools in the mix.
You mentioned Central, and Central's done a good job trying to recruit some of those out-of-state schools to play.
Yeah, so my, at the last meeting, we had a discussion. If it's a Rhode Island State Championship, shouldn't your schedule consist of Rhode Island schools?
And how does the RPI affect that ranking? Yeah.
It didn't affect anyone in Division II or Division III because they really didn't do a lot of that out-of-state, getting schedules. So if you're a coach that has good relationships with schools outside the state and you're able to do that, then you can, strategically schedule some good teams. You might lose, but you're going to get points anyways, or some really weak teams and win. You're going to get points for playing out of state.
Let me stop you right
yeah.
there because a good example is West Warwick.
Yeah.
Because Rob Parrott, an alumni, former quarterback of the high school team in West Warwick,
Yeah.
is now coaching in Western Massachusetts. He's got a powerhouse team.
Right.
Greg LeBossinier, who's a former West Warwick student athlete,
Yeah.
has a son, Wade, who's coaching in Central Massachusetts and has a pretty good team that's reached the Division II Massachusetts Super Bowl semifinals last couple of years.
Right.
So, I mean, you foster a relationship with them and you're at the precipice of what you were just talking about, playing a couple of non-league games, not having to play Division III or Division IV schools, and gaining some RPI points if those RPI points are allowed. Correct?
Correct. I just don't see the need to do this. I think we're getting outside of the scope of Rhode Island football, basically.
So it's Rhode Island football versus regional football
Yeah,
in a way.
it's just a way to make so if you're in Division One, this isn't a West Warwick, this isn't a Division Two issue. This is more a Division One issue because when you do the realignment and you're all of a sudden staring down the barrel of you're in a 10-team division, you're team 9 or 10, at some point I have to play in LaSalle and Hendricken and Cranston West and North Kingston and Central, and maybe we're not there. So let me take half of my schedule. Let me go out and try to find some other games. To the powerhouse teams, now you don't have to listen to people going, we can't play you, and then the games are lopsided. So we'll go out and we'll get our own games as well. So, but I just think that whole process is mucking up Rhode Island football in Division One. And I'll give you a good point. Yes, we got time, John?
We got as much time as you want.
So looking forward. So
That's the beauty of streaming.
right,
by the
exactly
way.
right.
Yeah, it's not radio. We're not confined to an
I know.
hour.
I
We could
was
go
really
as
just
long as-
kidding.
I know.
Just for everyone. So in Nevada, the way the Bishop Gorman's a nationally ranked powerhouse team. They travel the country playing. So they've got to the point where this year there was a mistake in the RPI. They had to reshuffle their whole playoff format like the same week because they went out and found a team that they had played in an eligible player. So therefore, that all those RPI points were dissolved and removed, changed everything. So Nevada Interscholastic League said, forget, we're not doing this anymore. We're going to have two sides. You play your schedule, and that's it. You have a bye, you can go schedule whoever you want. But you're not going to have that hybrid 50% in district, in state, the other 50 go find it. So that's going to affect Bishop Gorman. But the powers that be just felt like this is too much to kind of manage consistently. So they're just going to pull the plug on the whole thing. And if Bishop Gorman doesn't like that, Bishop Gorman can pull out, become the Notre Dame of high school football, and go out and play, a national league team. And I think that was maybe by design because I think the Nevada said you can go do that.
Is that what we're coming to? Because we saw a similar situation on a smaller scale with Mount St. Charles.
Yeah, Mount St. Charles' issue was Mount St. Charles created like a quasi academy within their school. And so you're either in or you're out. You can't do both. So if you had gone to Mount St. Charles and played on their ranked hockey program, you couldn't go play Interscholastic League. So what was happening is some of those students would play hockey and then go play lacrosse Interscholastic League or golf Interscholastic League. And, they were in two membership programs, like a prep program that played a prep league. You can't do both. It was either in or out. And so they had to make a decision. And, I think they made a decision that's going to work out for them, actually.
Do you think people, I think I know the answer to this one, do you think people realize the intricacies of some of the problems that are faced when you're talking about student athleticism on the broader scale?
Yeah, what I think with that is, there's always an effort to maintain roster size. And what's happening, we see in a lot of sports in Rhode Island is like a sense of apathy and kids aren't playing. And so, students don't want to play on a consistently losing program. So we try to tweak it so that every school has an opportunity at some point to be successful. So you increase the numbers and then there's some success there. But I think one issue is you really can't, I know you want to have one steady formula, one formula throughout, but you really can't paint every sport with the same brush. Football is very different roster size and makeup and success rates based on maybe baseball or softball, where one dominant pitcher can win for 4 years, win the state championship 4 years, and you don't know if an athlete can feel the ball and throw it because they're not even hitting the ball. So certain sports, I think there should be some flexibility. I don't think you should paint the whole league with one brush.
There are so many issues involving students' rights to play on weekends, for instance, while competing in an interscholastic league program. There's a myriad of different things, small things that the interscholastic league has to address now under Mike Loney's leadership that they didn't have to when Father Newbold ran the league or when Dick Lynch ran the league.
Yeah, Father
It's a-
Newbold.
Father Newbold is some old.
Yeah.
Let's dredge up an old
Yeah,
name, but a
right.
guy who was basically the pioneer
Yeah.
for the league. But it's gotten a lot more complicated. It got a lot more mucked, as you would say.
Well, with more programs means more personalities, which means a lot more issues. And so back probably when Father Newbold started this whole thing, it was basically the principals couldn't manage their sports schedules, their sports teams. So they created Interscholastic to kind of govern everything. So the principals didn't need to really get their hands involved in the scheduling and who's going to be the officials and where's the roster size. So that's what the Interscholastic League did, right? You were there probably at the start of this whole thing, but it's different now.
How old do you think I am?
170. What did he say? We went to his birthday. Was it 170?
170 with
170.
with that stupid fedora.
Yes.
Anyway, I digress.
So times are changing from what Father Newbold and Dick Lynch had to go through, and Tom Mezzanotte. Mezzanotte kind of brought us into this new era. I really do feel. I think Mr. Lynch was great. He was a wonderful man, and but I think Tom kind of saw this. He was a visionary, much like our engineer Johnny Boots is a visionary, and so he saw the direction of high school athletics, and so he's kind of passed the torch successfully to Mike Lunny. So that's a good thing. And a lot of things are out of our control. A lot of things, and people don't understand this. Interscholastic League doesn't mandate or manage schools. It's the other way around. The Interscholastic League works for the schools, the principals, and that's kind of the dichotomy of the whole thing. Is that people think that RIL runs everything. They just set the rules that's agreed upon, and then they help govern and enforce the rules as agreed upon. So
There's a parallel between that statement you just made and the NCAA, which governs intercollegiate athletics, but there are conferences near and wide that administer the nuts and bolts of their programs. And I happen to be a former commissioner of one of those conferences. Back then, and I think I put myself in the category of a Father Newbold, we handled more nuts and bolts things at the conference level. But now they're starting to touch upon the business aspect of Division III athletics, including things like NIL and budgetary issues that I wouldn't dream of handling when I first started at Johnson Wales years ago. Is there a simple fix to this at the highest level of administration in Rhode Island?
Change the scope of RIL to give them total autonomy over athletics and take it out of the school's hands and say, this is what we're doing and this is how we're going to do it. And we don't need approval necessarily. We're just going to mandate this. But like there are quasi state organizations. So that's really, I think it's how they're viewed legally and their power legally. So that's kind of the gray area.
It's interesting you say that too, because there's another parallel, because back in the 1990s and 2000s, the NCAA tried to incorporate presidents of institutions and get them much more involved in the national scope of intercollegiate athletics.
Right.
And it kind of fell in their faces. They were telling presidents, basically, you take control. Presidents were saying, well, why do I have an athletic director?
Exactly.
Why do I have athletic personnel that hire that? Why do I have business managers? Why do I have people? Why am I doing what you people should be doing?
Right.
Now it's fallen. With the hiring of Charlie Baker, I think the NCAA has taken a stronger hand in it. But now their issues are just so out of hand and so many that they can't do it that easily.
there's just a lot. There's a lot going on. It's like gumbo. It's like college athletics gumbo. There's just a lot of stuff in the pot now. And so if Charlie Baker and the NCAA need to get a handle on it and just really take over, and that's fine. But then when you take over, you suffer the slings and arrows of all the things that goes. You can't pass the buck. So right now in Rhode Island, if let's say there was a fight on a game, the Interscholastic League is going to dish out those consequences. Then people want the school to dish out the consequences. Well, we don't, it's not necessarily the same thing with the school. With the school in force, will follow and support, and that's how that is. Like academic eligibility, the real sets of guidelines, but each school is up to its own to kind of set their process and what they do. So Real's not dictating to everyone you should do this. They just give you a blanket guideline.
Do you see any other teams like Mount St. Charles after this realignment begging out of the Interscholastic League? And
They're not in it.
No, I know they're not.
Yeah.
But any other teams like a Henrican?
Yes.
Do you see a Henrican doing that?
So
The
they
Henrican and
can't-
LaSalle, those are the only two that I can really think
Yeah,
that's
that's
good.
really it. Well, Moses Brown,
Maybe
of those,
Moses Brown.
any of those prep school leagues,
Do you think any of them will
it
look
costs
at
too
that?
much money. I believe I have this on good information that one of the schools you mentioned
Sure.
actually did a study to the availability and then the cost effectiveness of going into the prep league, and it was found they just can't do it. It's not financially feasible, because if they went into that prep league, now you're playing, it travels a big piece of it. Busing is
Sure.
going to be a huge piece. That's so much of an athletic budget, as is in travel. So now if you have to go play other prep schools throughout New England,
Sure.
you're on a bus. You're on a coach bus. You're not on a school bus.
bus.
So it's too expensive to actually do that.
I got you.
So they're going to stay in Real.
So
And I'm
it's
okay.
been entertained, basically. It's people have
Well,
looked
because
into
I
it.
think what happens is they're watching to see how Mount St. Charles is working out and to see how the success rate for Mount St. Charles. Then they're thinking, well, because it's about money. This isn't about putting plaques on the wall. This is about money. So if they can be successful without breaking the bank, I think they would do it, because they get more kids, right? Populations are low in some of these schools. So if they can get more athletes because they're losing them to prep schools, Henrican hemorrhages kids to prep schools and pathway schools all the time now. Their enrollment, I think, is below 600.
Who is? Which one?
Henrican.
Henrican, yeah.
That's unbelievable how low that is. And they're losing kids and athletes to prep schools because they're leaving early, they're reclassifying, and then they get more time playing before they can get recruited.
And they've been promised the moon by those prep schools
They get those
without regulation.
a lot of those kids are getting promised the moon in 8th grade, and they think they're gonna, if you go here, here's your trajectory. I can tell you the kids that I know that I've coached and have the pleasure of coaching, and it's Kwity Paye in the NFL with the Colts. It's Jason Onyes at Notre Dame, and Xavier Truss never came to Henrican with any expectations of any further there. Honestly, there was no conversations. Where they are is based on their drive and their commitment to do that, and they did it themselves. There was no handler or somebody on the some friend of a friend that was going to drag them along, and they did this all on their own.
Is there some regret to making the move from a Henrican to a prep school, or from a West Warwick to a prep school? And now instead of being the big fish in the little pond, you're the little fish in the big pond. You're the 13th player on a 15-member basketball team.
It all depends. It all depends on really what you'd have to ask those students after the fact. Did you make the right decision? Would you, if you had to do it different, would you do it differently? I know I can only speak to a couple of examples that I know that Henrican guys, and they left. They went to a prep school. One student was an all-state football player, basketball player for Bishop Henrican. URI had told him, if you graduate from Henrican, you have a spot on our roster as football player. Did not want to do it. He, for whatever reason, had people in his ear, told him, try out, come here. We can go prep school. We have a lot of schools that come in and look at our kids. He did that. He left. He didn't have his senior prom, didn't hang out with his graduation. There's a lot of things that you're missing. And I remember talking to the parents saying, he's not going to go to his prom now. He's going to miss those senior moments that you're never going to get back. just to go and roll the dice. And he rolled the dice and lost. And he didn't go to Uri football. He didn't go. He did nothing. I don't even think he graduated. Like, he was a great kid, but just he, rolled the dice, got hurt, and that was it. So I don't see it really helping a lot of kids.
You touched upon it before, maybe about 5 minutes ago. You touched upon the Rhode Island Interscholastic League and its ability to meter out penalties. And the elephant in the room, of course, is the West Warwick Coventry game. Has anything been done with regard to any disciplinary measures for either team?
I think at this point, only speaking from West Warwick, the rules are pretty clear and real. If anyone wants to look up the rules, they can find it. For students that are ejected from a game, a contest, there's consequences, and those students are going through those consequences.
So there were ejections because we never had any follow up
Yes.
from that game, because the game ended. We went and we never followed up on what went on. So was there ejections? Was there?
Yes, there
from
were
both
several
teams?
ejections from
Okay.
both teams. I can't speak on the Coventry side at all. I don't know. I really don't know what the Coventry things, and nor do I care. But for the West Warwick students, there were a few ejections. I think there might have been 2 or 3, and the consequences are, spelled out and real, and those kids and those families should be notified by then. And they'll just have to follow through with the consequences.
We were at Dan's Place, the debut, the premiere.
Isn't this great?
This is fun.
I've never come here when it's this quiet, to be honest with you, because
Me either.
it's.
Very self-conscious about how loud to speak. It's just-
Are we fine?
You guys, it's our premiere episode, so we have a lot of testing. If you see a lot of quirks,
it's
a
our
lot of
pilot.
it's a pilot. It's not test. It's our pilot.
So,
No, you're fine. You look beautiful.
dude,
I made
thank
sure you guys look good.
You're
I'm
far
just,
enough away. The
just a lot
cameras
of
are far enough
technical-
away. This is not a face for any.
there's a lot of technical quirks that we're trying to work out.
I want to
like
know
that.
if the No Shave November look is going to continue through December.
No,
Oh.
what was it? They came up with another one for December.
Don't shave December.
No, Double or Nothing December or something like that, because the cops are doing it. I know.
Oh, really?
There's a few police departments that are doing it. They call it Second to None or Double It Up No December or something to that.
No.
I'm sorry. Double Down December
So you just take November.
and bring it into
Hey, 'cause,
December and just
if you're gonna commit to this, you commit. You commit to the winter. Honestly, this is not like a month to do this for a month. You need
So this Grizzly Adams look is going to continue until like March.
no. When I look in the mirror one day and see my father staring back at me, I'm gonna shave. So that's pretty much the line.
Mike
Promise.
Green, Johnny Boots, John Perthy here at Dan's Place. Are we due for a break?
nope. You got another like 10 minutes.
Fine.
That works.
Let's jump into Notre Dame and Michigan.
Let's do it.
Let's get into the
All right, let's
college
have some
stuff.
fun. So Notre Dame, I'm going to take my ball and go home, and that's basically what it looked like.
Yeah.
So you can convince me either way. They should be in or they shouldn't be in. I'm actually on the fence on what I don't like is the fact that they said we're not playing a bowl game, and I have it on very good information, extremely good sources from the person that gave me this, who might be a senior at Notre Dame, that the seniors didn't know they were playing their last game. So that's unfair to those kids
Yeah.
because there are going to be players who are going to go in the NFL and they didn't play the last game, but there's probably a lot more student athletes at Notre Dame who didn't realize that was their last football game. And that's unfair because that, as far as what I understand it to be, that was the coach's decision with the athletic director's decision.
The selection of the top teams, the top 12,
Yeah.
also comes into play here because you're taking a James Madison and comparing them to Notre Dame. Really?
Oh, I mean, they agreed on the winners of those conferences were going to get an automatic bid, much like the NCAA basketball. You get the winners in some of those smaller conferences, they get put in the 62 and then they get blown out by the first round, or they go on a a little bit of a run and get people nervous.
And they become the
Cinderella.
darlings, the
Yes,
darlings of the
St.
tournament.
Peter's. What was that? St. Pete's.
Yeah.
in New York. So yeah, so go back to Notre Dame. I think what they did was they, every Tuesday they did the ranking show, right? And I would watch it, and they justified where everyone was, and Notre Dame was right there, and I think 9 or 10 each week, and so they dangled that carrot constantly, and so to see them knocked out, I can understand it was like, I can see where Notre Dame would be upset. However, you look at Miami, who didn't even play in that conference championship, is in. But Miami had a little bit of a harder schedule. Strength of schedule was a little harder. Notre Dame, lost 2 games to 2 nationally ranked teams, Miami and A&M, and both teams are really good. But You're not in a conference. Notre Dame, you're like, they're out there independently. So guess what? The NCAA can say, sorry.
But do you think, and as I do, that special consideration should be given to independents and maybe a slot withheld
No,
or two? No, really?
no, because you're independent. Like if
You're independent by choice.
Yeah, this is a total Notre Dame choice because they don't want to share that revenue with NBC with the conferences. That's basically what this is. So if they were in the ACC like they are in every other sport, then okay, I can rally behind Notre Dame being that team that gets in. But you're independent for no other reason but financial. Then if you don't get in, you don't get in. So don't lose. Don't lose to Miami.
True.
Don't lose to Miami. Like they lost to Miami. I think both games they lost by a combined 7 points.
Yeah.
Right. You got to win those games. If you're Notre Dame and you want to play independent schedule, and that's awesome. You've got to win. You've got to win out. You can't have a bump in the road.
So Mike Reed is saying, take the bitter pill and swallow it.
Absolutely. And play in a bowl game because you have student athletes on your roster who are never going to play football again.
I don't get that either.
So this is about kids. Like at some point, it's money, but you have these student athletes in here who are dedicating their body and their brains for the benefit of the football team. You know what? To pull the rug out from under them. I don't believe it was a vote. I know they said the kids voted. Maybe they voted after, but those kids weren't told that this was their last game. They were robbed of the bowl game.
And whether it's the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl or the
And Notre Dame doesn't need the money.
right, exactly.
Because
That's why they pulled out. They don't care about
They
the
don't
money.
care about because I think the the Cheez-Its Bowl between Texas A&M and Texas
Yes.
and Michigan is I think in the Cheetos Bowl or whatever it is, right? There's a Citrus Bowl. I think both teams get like $8 million. You can't sneeze at that. I mean, if you're Notre Dame and you can say goodbye, salute, because that's crazy to say, I don't want that money.
But at what point does the alumni money erode if this continues?
Well, to hear the athletic director on the Dan Patrick show, he
shameless plug for Dan Patrick,
Yes,
number
well,
one.
it was terrible. His spin was that the ACC, shame on you for not defending us. It defies logic. You're not in the ACC for football. You're not a partner. You're a partner in the other 24 sports. Yeah, and they'll support Notre Dame when it's warranted. But football, it wasn't. So his whole spin was go on the offensive and then play the victim. No one's going to feel bad for Notre Dame, right? Would you? I'm never going to feel bad for Notre Dame.
If you're an ACC team, are you saying, "Oh, please don't Notre Dame, please don't join us," because the ACC is not the SEC.
No.
It's not the Big Ten. It's not the Big 12. It's not the Pac-10.
I think that Notre Dame, if they really want to make some headway, join the Big Ten. You're right in that conference. You're right there. Everyone's joining the Big Ten, right?
Big Ten has become
USC's
what, the
in
Big
the Big
16?
USC's in the
Yeah.
Big Ten. Oregon's in the Big Ten. So you might as well stick Notre Dame in there and see what they can do.
What about the mess at Michigan?
Not a good look. Now, if he had beat Ohio State, here's a question: would the coach at Michigan go through this huge ordeal publicly if they had beat Ohio State?
No.
Or they would have swept under the rug?
Yes. Would have been swept under the rug. They're saying it nationally.
There you go.
It would have been swept under the rug.
Oh, that's not a hot take.
Well, I mean, it is, and it isn't. I mean, it just happened the last day and a half, to be honest with you, right? It really did. It just happened the last day and a half. So, I don't know.
Yeah, so I mean, losing to Ohio, you can never lose to Ohio State. So, and Harbaugh won and then won the national championship. So, right now he was golden. But every coach that leaves scorched earth because there's always a problem.
Yeah.
So that's the other issue.
Let's dial back a little bit and talk some college football. But on the plus side, let's talk about URI and the job Jim Fleming did this year.
That staff is, and I used to always argue that they don't use enough Rhode Island guys. There's some key Rhode Island players who are impactful on their success. Moses Mayu,
Marquise
Buchanan, great athletes, making a major impact in the success of that program. Shout out to offensive coordinator Mike Flanagan. I coached him at Hendricken. He was a running back, so he only heard me yell at him. But Mike did the tour. He did the sacrifice. grad assistants. He worked his way up the chain to get to where he is, and he's done a great job. And then Ryan McCormick, another person I worked with at Salve, is now a recruiting coordinator, I believe, at URI as well.
Does Jim Fleming get a nibble at another job?
I don't think he wants one.
I tend to agree with that.
Yeah, I think he's very settled in Rhode Island. I think he likes Rhode Island. I think the area he's got a lot of connections with people, just not as Jim Fleming, the football coach, just friend, like a regular guy, like in the neighborhood down there in Narragansett. So I don't see him leaving unless someone threw a ton of money at him. And at some point, like it or not, we get to a certain age where I don't know if I want to start over again. I'm going good momentum here. I'm fine. Everything's great. Family's great. The team's great. We're going in the right direction. Do I want to pick up and start all over again? A young guy like Bob Chesney, home run, to go back to, what he's done. Bob Chesney has done wonders. Salve, Assumption, Holy Cross, James Madison, UCLA. That's amazing. Bob Chesney's a great guy. I've spoke with him several times about things, football related things. Great guy.
Are you juiced up about a Heisman Award?
They just don't know who it's going to go to. I don't think it's the quarterback from Vanderbilt. If he gets it, it's going to be like a Rudy situation, right? It's probably going to go the Mendoza from Indiana. That quarterback, you beat Ohio State.
Yep.
The comeback win
Which
against
was a
Penn
heck of a
State.
game, by the way. That was a great football game.
I couldn't, I'm not an Ohio State fan. Obviously, I lean towards Michigan, regardless of the coach and the situation. But I turned it off at some point because I could not see that smug Urban Meyer, because he's just as dirty as everyone else on those staffs. So to see him, I couldn't do it. They all picked Ohio State, by the way. I don't think there was anyone in the pregame show that picked Indiana. So great game. Their game against Penn State was a tremendous game. If that was probably the best game of the year, college sports, because they went to Happy Valley, they were losing, and that quarterback made some throws, and the receivers made some unbelievable catches to win the game. That game, I think, brought him the Heisman Trophy.
Give me a take on this. Why is college football interest in New England so pathetic? Why don't we care, except for people like you with Notre Dame or people who attended major football schools like at Clemson or Alabama? Or why does college football lag in popularity in New England as opposed to other sections of the country?
I don't know.
I don't
have
either.
No idea.
I figure, let me ask
I
Mike
think it's
this
the
one.
schools. I think it's the type of schools. Like URI has always been like kind of looked down upon, even by our own kids.
But 2 years in a row, they go to this. They go to the finals. They go to the, I don't know, the tournament, I guess you could call it. Last year they made it to the step before the quarterfinals. This year they make it to the quarterfinals in UC Davis out in California. Why isn't there more excitement about URI football? It's something that hasn't happened since 1985 in this area with URI football.
Were you even born in 1985?
I remember watching it on Channel 10 and Frank Carpano doing the god-awful play-by-play because the camera angles were so bad back, in those days with Meade Stadium being the way it is presently without the Ryan Center. But I remember watching those games on Channel 10 back on Saturday afternoons. But nothing since, Ron Earhart and that era back in the 80s hasn't really taken off. And URI's doing phenomenal. I love it. I like watching the games on, whether it be Flow Sports or ESPN Plus or wherever you get the games nowadays. URI football. I listened to that game last week on Varsity Network, god-awful production. And I ended up watching it on ESPN2 when I got home, but when it hit 40-20, I turned it off.
To answer your question, I don't know. I think we don't have enough of our kids going to our state school and playing, so you lose that connection. I think that we need to really promote football in Rhode Island. We don't do enough of it. We're trying to keep it from dissolving and disappearing. And so you have your Bryants, Brown, URI.
How many BCS schools do we have in New England? Boston College,
great fan base.
UConn.
Super, not that big a fan. That's the thing. It's like it doesn't take off.
Well,
BC has a great fan base, and as bad as they are, the alumni still really support The school doesn't. So I think it comes into the school's responsibility. If the school says we're going to pump a lot of money into our football program, that means a big stadium. We're going to go out, get as many kids as we can. We have to change conferences if we need to, then so be it. But they're not going to do that. They're going to put the money into the cheaper one, basketball. Basketball has a great fan base. And PC, like it boggles my mind. It always has, because I went to both schools at one point. Why URI is always the little sister of PC when in this Rhode Island's a state school. URI is our state university. But PC, everyone wants to be seen at they want to be seen.
Big
at
East has
PC.
Big East has a lot to do with that.
It
Well,
does.
it's like
Exposure.
it's like Rutgers at Seton Hall. Rutgers is the New Jersey State School.
Right.
Seton Hall is a big draw
Right.
because it's a Big East school.
Right.
Plus,
think
you got
you're
all
right.
the schools in Philadelphia as well.
You're right. I
But-
think it's the biggie. I think it's the conference.
But if URI is winning, when like Hurley was here, and they are showing and proving that they're winning, that's when the fans come out. I don't know if it's because it's an easier ticket to get than it is to go to the AMP and get a ticket for PC, which is very difficult during the season, especially for those Georgetown or St. John University teams. But if URI is winning, they'll put fans in the seats. I've watched it
yeah.
when I went when my daughter was there for 4 years. When David Cox's first year, and he had the leftover players from Hurley's team, they were still putting fans in the seats. And I watched. COVID may have had a lot to do with it, because we had that COVID season in there where nobody was there, just cutouts. But I saw it her first year. Dan Hurley leftovers, places packed, players that Dan Hurley had brought in that didn't leave. But then after the COVID year, which was her sophomore year, and we went to the third year, which was her junior year, that's when I started, and then I started to see dwindling. And then Archie Miller came in her fourth year, and that we were gone. They were gone.
Yeah,
and now
no.
look at it now.
Yeah.
I had a conversation yesterday, not to take it away, but I had a conversation last night with a family member of a very big booster, and I'm talking a very big booster. Like this company advertises immensely on every platform known to God for URI football, basketball, baseball, softball. And they were telling me last night that if Archie Miller doesn't win at least 2 games in the A-10 tournament, he's gone. Done.
Yeah.
And that came from a good, reliable source. And this person's son works down at URI and is in the sports information department at URI. And he was saying the word around the campus is if Archie Miller can't win 2 games in the A-10 tournament, sayonara, you're done. You've had enough time. You've had 4
Sure.
years.
How much time does English have?
He's got to, and that was the other thing that came up. He's got to do something in the Big East tournament, at least win 2 games, or else he's going to be gone too.
How much do we put on Kim English, though, when 13 of his 15 players from last year's roster decide they want to bail and go somewhere else because of NIL? Doesn't that
Is it because of NIL or is it because of him?
Both.
Yeah, right, exactly. If you're winning, you're not losing.
So
If you're not winning in your successful program, you're not gonna leave. You might lose a couple, but you're not gonna lose as many as he lost. I think I'm tired of seeing him in a press conference saying, "Well, we did this well," and you didn't win. Great, you played great team defense. That's awesome. You still lost.
hasn't played
So-
anybody yet either until today when he plays Butler?
Yeah, there's going to be I think those guys that have a challenge. Yeah, I think it's time to start looking at in a different direction.
But I think what's hurt, not just URI PC, but all of college sports, has been the combination of NIL money coming from the collective and the easiness of
The portal.
transferring the portal. You put those two things together, you've created a monster in NCAA sports.
I agree. But I do think there's something to be said for, building a program, keeping those kids. If you can keep those kids, it might not be as talented, but if you can keep them in your program long enough to develop a rapport with one another, like a Princeton. How's Princeton, who year in, year out makes a big dent in the NCAA? Why? Because they work together as a team. They're there. They're not coming in for a year, then leaving, where you're not building continuity. You're not learning the program. So I think there's something to be said for those schools that take those recruited athletes, keep them on campus, on the program, and they work together to get better. It might not happen right away, like the Calipari, one and done kind of philosophy, but it is going to carry more weight moving forward. So when those kids are with you by the time they're seniors and they've run the program and the system, if they believe in you, in the coach, then they might be a little more competitive against a team of all-stars.
So
That's
besides-
my point.
But besides that, take Bryce Hopkins, for example. Had one phenomenal year at PC, then hit the injury bug for 2 seasons. I think we were discussing this last night, my friends. He played like 3 games or 4 games over a 2-season span because of his injuries. But he was still offered a big chunk of money from Patino at like $1.25 million to come play for him. Let's see, I'm coming off injuries. I really haven't proven myself since my freshman year. But you're going to throw $1.25 million at me over 2 years to come play for you at St. John's? That's a no-brainer because PC can't meet that.
Yeah.
That they can't meet that
Yeah,
type
tough.
of money.
Yeah, it's a tough.
The portal and the NIL together.
And so maybe
Crushing
that's where the NCAA and Charlie Baker start to kind of put some guidelines into this.
If you read the NCAA manual, especially at the Division III level, you're going to find the words student athleticism. You're a student first and then an athlete. How far away are we from the truth with that statement?
I can speak for the student athletes I know who are playing in college. They were students first. Students first. I mean, we're talking about those high level athletes. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to assume that they're not getting their degree, but I can only speak for what I know. The young men I've known and athletes, they get the degree.
We are at Dan's Place. Mike Green, Johnny Boots, and I here for the pilot, the premiere, the debut of 321 Sports Talk. We'll be back with more in a moment.
What is Cousin Johnny doing now? This is ridiculous. What the?
Oh, pooper's full. Oh, hey, Clark, I didn't see you. It's Cousin Johnny Mac here at Sandy Motors. Welcome to where we make car buying wicked easy, and we make it wicked easy all holiday season long. So don't get your tinsel all tangled up. Come get a new sleigh now to the new year and see our markdown prices. Get approved and financed now at sandymotors.com. You can come see me, Cousin Johnny Mac, and all our sales staff. I want to wish you a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holiday Season. Oh, Merry Christmas!
Welcome to Dan's Place, Rhode Island's #1 stop for amazing food, drinks, and live entertainment. Dan's Place offers a fantastic selection of unique menu items, including pizzas, pasta, steaks, and seafood. Here's what our customers have to say: a masterpiece on a crust. Watch your favorite New England teams on one of Dan's 4 big screen TVs. Looking for a great place to meet? Try Dan's Place.
I'm Dan from Dan's Place, where your only regret is not coming in sooner.
Hi, this is Dan from Lathrop Insurance. In this challenging insurance environment, Lathrop Insurance can be your beacon in the storm to help you find the coverage you need at the right price. Now, more than ever, you need a partner in the insurance industry that can work with multiple carriers to make sure you have the right coverage at the right price. Lathrop Insurance carries home, auto, and business insurance and can be reached at 401-596-2525. We've been supporting the local community since 1939, and we look forward to working with
Visit the West Warwick Civic Center for great family entertainment and special events, from public skating to sporting events and trade shows, and there's much, much more all year around. Visit us frequently on Facebook or on the town's website at westwarwickri.org. And for more information about facility rentals, call 822-9200. See you soon at the West Warwick Civic Center.
For centuries, the lighthouse at Castle Hill has been a trusted guide to safer harbors ahead. And like the rock-solid foundation it's built on, at Bank Rhode Island, we're proud of the financial strength and the trust we bring to our customers, to our communities, and to businesses across the state of Rhode Island. It's banking, strong and trusted. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Back at Dan's Place, Johnny Boots, Mike Green, John Parenti. Dan's Place, 880 Victory Highway in West Greenwich, exit 14B off I-95. Dan graciously hosting us
Right.
for our premiere episode, and we'll be back here for more.
Sure.
I think we're gonna kind of bebop around different businesses. So if you're listening and you want an idea, you want to host this,
Yeah, that's great.
We don't take up much room. We don't take
No,
up
a
much
very
space.
small footprint here.
Very small footprint. Mike Green
Yeah.
just asks for a bottle of water. That's
Just
all he-
water.
just-
My rider M&Ms with just the green ones. What else? So that's it. They yeah, this is great. Like, I've been coming for Dan's. I've lived out here for over 20 years. I've been coming to Dan's forever.
Me too. I
So
come
it's
here
been
all the
great.
time. I come here all the time.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I do. Oh, look, he's bringing water. Look
Wow,
at that.
the waiter, and he's spilling water everywhere. So
Yeah.
this is not a good sign.
No, not a good sign.
Just they're gonna slip on that.
Oh, thank
Thank
you,
you, sir.
Look at that.
No,
Look at the
sir. No,
host.
thank you.
Look at the host. Look at this.
So how'd we do? First 30 minutes in our
It was actually the first like 43
40.
minutes.
We talked that long?
You could talk up a storm,
Man,
Green.
I'm telling you, I am
Unbelievable.
dry. Well, I live with 3 women. No one wants to hear me at all. So,
So you got to get it all out.
this
when
is
we,
it. I'll
we
go home and
invite
not
you
say a
out.
word. I will literally be a monk for the next when I get home. You will not hear from me.
Oh my goodness gracious, that's
Yeah.
so funny.
That's
That's
all
funny.
right.
As John Prenti rejoins us, and I can bring up the camera.
We've got a full house. The girls are all
We
in.
can bring
Hey,
up the
John.
camera. There we got the cameras
Thanks
back
for
up.
the water, buddy.
Yeah, thanks for the water.
Appreciate that.
problem.
Dying.
You asked?
I just don't know what it looks like to drink on camera. That's kind of interesting.
So
Yes, as long as it's not
Well, I'm
alcohol.
actually gonna-
That's vodka. I know it is.
Yeah, right. Like Dean Martin.
Go ahead, guys.
Right.
I say the big story for last.
Okay. Well, you got as much time as you want. I don't think that's going to
Big,
shut us
big
off.
game tomorrow at Gillette Stadium. Bills, Patriots. Let's try to bring it down a little bit, and
Sure.
we'll get the predictions from the geniuses that sit here. So
I'm totally up in the air. I'm waiting for the shoe to drop with the New England Patriots. I just don't see them
I
being
think
that
we all
team.
are.
And so far, I love Mike Vrabel. Always have. He's as a player. Ohio State guy. That's his only chip. I'm not a big fan of. But I do like what he brings to the table. He's a player's coach with a hard line, and it's kind of that mix because Belichick was hard line. That was it. And then you had Mayo, player's coach. Vrabel is like the perfect combination of that coach. It reaches to the players, but also demands high expectations.
And he's
I
not
love
afraid
that.
to challenge them.
No, not at all. And they're afraid of him because he's a big cat and he has a great reputation.
I have Jackson Dart and I have Josh Allen on my fantasy football team. I've
Josh
actually-
Allen.
Nope. He had
No.
less points. They're afraid of the Patriots defense. Jackson Dart's getting more points in fantasy football than Josh Allen
And who-
going against that Patriots defense. Like when they predict how many points Josh Allen is going to get for the week. They look
Right.
at who the defense is. They're thinking that the Patriots defense is really going to dominate Josh Allen and really hold him down. I don't see it, but hey, I'm not
I don't think you can necessarily. I think that's how good Josh Allen is. I think you might be able to in spots,
Yep.
be able to keep him contained, but he's too much of an athlete to you can't contain him for 4 quarters. Who are the Giants playing this week?
I'm not
The
sure.
Commanders.
The Commanders.
We'll get
So-
to that.
All right, so I think it comes down to Jackson Dart. He's reckless. He's one hit away from going under the blue tent. So you might want to start him, great, but he's literally first play, first series. He could be
So
done.
what I'm saying is the Patriots defense going to dominate Josh Allen? That's where I was going with my analogy. Josh Allen, he's going against that Patriots defense, that line. Do you think they're afraid?
Patriots defense is all busted up this week, right? Milton's not in. I think they'll lose. I think 4 of their 4 starters are out on the D line. If I remember correctly.
Flip the coin, however. They have had 13 days to prep for the Bills.
Yeah. Sometimes you put too much in when you have that much time. Honestly, you really do. Those teams that had the Thanksgiving then played the next 4 days later did pretty well because you don't have time to get ahead of yourself. You work on the basics, you get better at it, you get healthy, and you play. That sometimes that bye, those coaches sitting in the office kind of trying to devise things that all of a sudden they're kind of doing things outside their norm. So
Who's got the bigger? Before we continue, I just got to ask you guys this question: who's more responsible for the success of the Patriots this year? This has been talked about nationally, so I just want to ask.
Mike Vrabel.
No doubt.
Okay, That's that, and I agree with you. I just had
Yeah,
to. I just had to ask.
Are we already starting the Belichick Brady thing with May and Vrabel?
Yes and no, but I listening. Like I'll tell you who I listen to Eisen. Occasionally, I'll turn on Patrick. Those are probably the only two national guys I really like to listen to. But the big talk was who's more responsible, Vrabel or May?
Oh no,
Vrabel's made May, I think, in a way, with bringing in Josh McDaniel, letting Josh McDaniel do what he did with Brady. Before Charlie Weiss and then Josh McDaniel.
Yeah,
letting him just mold him correctly, not in
So-
the Gerard Mayo mold.
So, as I understand it, McDaniel was a Kraft hire, not a Vrabel hire.
Exactly.
So Kraft is thinking back of Tommy and let's kind of rehash history and we can bring it back. So I don't know if Vrabel had carte blanche. I don't know if Vrabel would have brought McDaniel back. Maybe not. And so would we be in the same position we are now? I think that was the key. Is McDaniel is the key to May's success, and then Vrabel being the head coach is the overall success for that.
I want to bring into the equation the game between Buffalo and Cincinnati, because if Joe Burrow does not throw the 2 interceptions, if he doesn't break down totally in the fourth quarter,
Right.
if they don't give up a 40-yard touchdown to Josh Allen, we're talking a very different dynamic with regard to this game.
True, but what you saw against Cincinnati by Buffalo is Buffalo winning the football game, and Burrow's great, but
Cincinnati just blow it.
I think they blew it on the schematically. I mean, the interceptions that Joe Burrow threw, yes, they were on him, and I think he'd probably be the first guy to say those are mine. But that third down conversion run, when you don't spy Josh Allen, I mean, there are probably from every level of football. I think anyone can tell you got to spy him.
Yep, it's going to happen tomorrow.
You would think it's going to be who spies him, and does Buffalo devise a scheme that identifies the spy and then blocks the spy? Because that's what you do. Anyone can have a spy. All right, so we're going to identify the spy. If it's, let's say, whoever it might be, for the Patriots. Now you're going to block him. Once you get him blocked, now he's just another running back. So you can scheme it up. It's not, spying Josh Allen is not the end-all be-all of great defensive great game plans. The offense actually gets paid to come up with, counterpoints to that defense. Like Spillane, if he's going to spy Allen, they're going to block Spillane and make sure he can't get to Allen.
When you watch a football game, how much do you watch the defenses?
In the pros, and I watch the whole thing. If it's college, I kind of tend to watch individuals. In the pros, I look at the whole thing. I just want to enjoy it. I get mad at the announcers. And
that was my
jealous
next
of them. I
question.
can't stand
What point does it reach where you're not enjoying it as much as you are coaching?
It's for me.
And I think Barbara can identify that, asking that question, because I do the same thing when I watch a baseball game.
Right. Yeah. I tend to want to pick out things. I will tell you this: listening to some of these color guys on the NFL, they're wrong. They'll say things and they're wrong. They're wrong in the formation. They're wrong in the scheme and the play. And it boggles my mind that no one's correct. And these are like Hall of Fame guys, and they're literally saying the wrong things, or they'll predict a play and they're way off. They're not even close. I turn the volume off sometimes, John. I really can't stand listening to those guys.
So who wins, gentlemen?
Sorry,
Who wins tomorrow?
Patriots by a slim margin.
Buffalo has to win.
No, they have to win.
I know. I just think, but I just feel like Buffalo's gonna, they have to play that perfect game. They're still at the top of the AFC East. Period. So, if the Patriots want to assume that mantle, then they need to beat them. And right now, the Bills are still that team to beat. So I'm gonna go with the Bills. Heart, Patriots. Brain, Bills.
In covering the 1.5 or whatever it is?
Sure.
I'm going Patriots.
Boots is saying Patriots. Why?
I just think
He's a local.
No. It has nothing to do with being a local. Trust me. I'll give you. if I didn't see them doing what they've been doing all season long, they always find a way to win.
They did.
They always find a way to win, and for some reason, Buffalo finds a way to lose.
Yes. Good point.
In the last few games, big games, they found a way to lose, and they didn't step up. And having 13 days off, I agree with you, could be bad, could be good with the Patriots. But I always find that the Buffalo Bills find a way to lose, and it's been more so this year than in past years with big games. Now, this is, like you said, this is a big game. Maybe they do step up. Maybe Josh Allen does sling the ball 600, 700 yards. But I still say Drake May, being younger, really nothing to lose. They're not supposed to be in this position. They were not predicted by any how do you call those people?
There isn't anybody in the world that predicted New England to
Exactly.
be 11-2.
So you know what? It'd be 11-2. So I don't think they have much to lose. So if they lose this game, we're still going to the playoffs.
Just have to beat the Jets.
Yeah, but
you know what I'm
Miami,
saying?
you win the conference.
No,
you win the division.
Yeah.
I get that.
So
but you asked
that's
who's
why I
gonna
think it's the
win. I'm just
Patriots.
saying, I think the Bills. I'm waiting for the. So this is what it is. I'm waiting for the Bills to play like the Bills, and I'm waiting for the Patriots
To go
to
backwards.
kind of go backwards a little bit. And I really do, because I started the season with a new quarterback, no real talented receivers, an offensive line that was put together with tape. Defensively, they lost some guys. Their success is based on Mike Vrabel being head coach. Period. I do think he's the reason why defensively speaking, philosophically, it's all Mike Vrabel. However, I do think even Mike Vrabel's not out there playing, and at some point those guys are playing, and I think the Bills have a lot to lose now, and I think you're going to see Delvin Cook just tear it up, and I really do think the Bills have some offensive weapons. I think every offensive series the opponent has scored their first possession against the Patriots every
That's
single
correct.
time.
Yes.
Their first possession on defense, they have yet to keep an opposing offense from scoring all season. So to me, that's not a dominant defense. That's bend, and all of a sudden they break. And they make adjustments because then it changes a little bit. But the Bills is a high-powered offense, and if they can score once, they're gonna keep scoring. I really do believe that.
One word, one person. I didn't mean to interrupt you, John. I apologize. Stephon Diggs. Get something to prove. He didn't play well. He didn't play all that. I don't think he played much in the first
He didn't
game.
get the ball much in
the first
week
game.
5.
He's really came to his own, came back to the old Stephon Diggs. I really think they found a place for him. I think they've developed some plays just for Stephon Diggs to get down the field and get open. So I think you're going to see a big game from Stephon Diggs tomorrow. 2 reasons. Wants to prove himself to the Bills that you really shouldn't have given up on me. And 2, he wants to make something happen here in New England to make a name for himself. And comeback player of the year, his name has been tossed around by the NFL and by the writers.
Sure.
So I like to see that. Yeah.
There are doom and gloomers who say if the Patriots should lose and lose badly tomorrow, it snowballs into the Baltimore week, it snowballs into the Miami week, and the only hope is beating the Jets.
Yeah, I can see that.
Hmm.
I mean, if you had a crystal ball, you can predict how it could go wrong. That makes sense
Yeah.
to me. Sure. It's like the Colts. Once they started losing, it just snowballed. And look where they are now. They're
Would
pulling.
you hire a 44-year-old quarterback to take your playoff hopes into the next level?
He knows. So if there's anything about this that makes sense, is that he knows the offense really well.
That's the only reason why.
That's it. It's like he can actually do it.
I mean, there are
run the play.
Other guys out there younger. with
Yeah,
more
absolutely.
experience.
George
44 years
Blanda.
old.
Drew
Yes, I do.
Brees. You got
Yeah,
Drew
I do.
Brees. Drew Brees is sitting out
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
He's sitting in a broadcast booth. He would have
Right.
loved to come out of the broadcast booth.
Right.
Colin Kaepernick. I know we don't like
Yeah,
to
we're
go that
not,
wrong,
yeah.
but I'm just saying there's guys out there younger that could have done it a little bit and taken the hits. Philip Rivers, he's got 10 kids. He's got probably
Let's get out of the house.
10 kids. What do
2.
you
I'm
wanna
ready.
do?
Look what I'm doing. I got 2 kids and I'm here on a Saturday morning.
Usually, when we do the high school broadcast,
Yeah.
we go around the Rhode Island, the Scholastic League. I want to go around the NFL. I want to get your take, both of
do
your
it.
takes
Let's
on
do
this.
it.
All right, so Buffalo Patriots, Mike's got Buffalo. Boots has got the Patriots. I'm going to ask the expert in the room,
Yep.
who is widely known on social media as someone who knows nothing about football, Barbara Parenti. Just yell it out there. Pats Buffalo. You're looking good now, Mike. All right. Also on the schedule this week, 3-10 Arizona, 8-5 Houston. If there's one team I want the Patriots to avoid, it's the Houston Texans. Boy, can they play defense.
No one wants to play Houston. I don't think there's a team where if you have Houston remaining and you're a playoff team, you really want to like scratch that game off because they are so good on defense. The only thing that doesn't worry us so much is offensively, CJ Stroud, Ohio State guy, throws to Nico Collins, Michigan guy. So that's the only thing that works is that Ohio State quarterbacks historically don't do well in the NFL, but they're okay if they throw to a Michigan guy.
What do they say about defense wins championships?
It always does. Always does.
9-4 Jacksonville against the 3-10 New York Jets. Stink.
You got to root for Liam Cohen, even though he went.
What a
to
great year
LaSalle.
he's had, huh?
I think of LaSalle like I think of Ohio State. So, but Liam Cohen's a local guy.
Went to LaSalle, but had Salve roots.
Nah,
Went through Tim.
yeah, but Tim, his dad coached LaSalle
Yeah.
at that point. So yeah, but Liam's a great guy. He's done really well. He's brought some guy. He's done the right thing. He's got Josh Lima.
Josh Lima is very happy he's made that move.
Yes, he is. He got out of the bullseye of Cumberland. And I just found out Ari Confessa. Ari Confessa is a Mount Pleasant, grad, I believe, did the football college coach at Holy Cross. He's been he's done the tour. He's a journeyman in football, and he's with the Jaguars now. Local guy. Liam takes care of local guys. I think that's great.
Yeah, I do too. He's had a great year.
Did you hear that, Liam?
With Goldilocks as his quarterback, as Barbara will call Trevor.
Oh
Lawrence.
he's a thing. Yeah.
Philadelphia 8-5, Las Vegas 2-11. A lot of one-sided games here, but it's a chance for the Eagles to get back on track because they've looked lousy in 2 of the last 3 weeks.
Terrible. You talk about the definition of dysfunction. You have 2 dysfunctional programs going on right now. You have the Eagles who are snowballing their way into hell, and then you got
Kansas City.
Yeah, and then you have the Raiders who are always in the hell.
Yeah. Giants and Washington, combined record of 5-21 between the two teams.
That's not the flex game, is it? Please God, no. I'll go to my mother-in-law's.
I don't even want predictions there because nobody cares.
They were putting it on YouTube because I didn't think they would get many viewers.
Wow.
the Who Cares Bowl.
We
All
might
right.
get. You know what? We may get more viewers for our premiere episode today than that game will get.
You're right.
Let's hope.
That's my
Let's
prediction.
hope. Yeah, great.
Chargers and Kansas City. The Chargers, like the Patriots, have been stacking wins. The Chiefs, who knows?
Well, no one likes the Chiefs outside of Kansas City, right? In Missouri,
Right.
like who likes them?
And John's girlfriend Taylor Swift.
You had to bring that up. That was on you. You brought that up. See, you start things. See. Yeah, I'd rather see the Chargers win, but then again, I'd rather see like the worst. I'd rather see Ohio State win against Kansas City. That's how bad I can't stand Kansas City.
You know what the good thing about being on 321 Media and being on YouTube and Facebook? I can't play any type of copyrighted music, so there'll be no Taylor Swift music.
Oh, that was a benefit. Isn't that a
It
benefit?
is a
Killer.
benefit. It is a benefit.
Thank you,
That is
3-2-1. I'm
killer.
really,
The Bengals are 4-9. People actually have them finishing 8-9, but it starts with the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson tomorrow.
that's gonna be a great game. Really, both quarterbacks really are not playing up to their MVP potential. Joe Burrows is an absolute terrific quarterback. So is Lamar, but for whatever reason, those teams really can't get things moving in the right direction. Someone's gonna win tomorrow. It's gonna be a toss-up. I really do think so.
Up until last week, was there a better story in the NFL than the Chicago Bears?
Yeah, I can't get into a quarterback that paints his nails. So I'm done. Bears.
So you can say stuff like this.
Huh?
You can say stuff like that on this.
No, it
media
just throws me.
platform.
He was crying in college when he lost. He went and cried in the stands of his mom. It's something about that guy just doesn't sit well. Yes, I just not a big fan of that.
Coach is great, though.
Yeah, he's good. He's a great coach. He's a great offensive mind. Just not a big fan of that quarterback. Just can't root for them.
Sorry, Caleb. All right, so Browns, Cleveland, obviously. I think we've got unanimous decision here for the Bears. No,
Yeah, I'll go.
It's in Chicago. The Browns are awful.
Yeah, man, I'm a big Myles Garrett fan this week. I hope to goodness he gets to that guy with bad intentions.
Seahawks are 10-3. People are mentioning them with the Super Bowl against the Indianapolis Colts and Phillip Rivers. Old man Rivers.
Yeah, but is he starting? He's still in the
I
practice
think
squad. They haven't lifted him yet.
That might be contractual. That might be a whole NFL roster thing where they got to drop somebody, put someone down. Like, you know what I mean? That might be one of those
Can you be a healthy
roster
scratch? Can you do a healthy scratch and
to
then
bring
bump-
someone else
bring
up to
someone
bump
else?
some. Yeah, I don't know. He's gonna. I mean, who else is who's practicing in that position then?
Like the fifth string
emergency
quarterback.
kid?
Man, he is the man.
I think
He
Mike
goes-
Green's can stop before that.
Paint my nails.
Another lopsided game. 49ers 9-4. Tennessee 2-11.
Where are they playing? Tennessee?
No.
Oh, all right. Okay. That's like one of those trap games. That's why if they're playing in Tennessee, you worry a little bit.
They're not, so I'm not worried.
No, I'm not worried.
What do you got here? New Orleans 3-10 against the juggernaut Carolina Panthers.
Let's go.
7-6.
Big number 74 for the Saints. West Warwick's own Xavier Truss.
You know what? I gotta be
Gotta
honest.
love the Saints.
I haven't tracked him. How's he been doing? I gotta be honest. I haven't tracked him.
So
I really haven't.
You know, you have to buy the NFL Network to watch the Saints, right? So
I haven't.
I don't watch the Saints, but I always try to ask kids that were, you know, he's got relatives still in West Warwick,
Yeah.
so I'll ask. He's on the PAT team. He's, you know, he's going out for field
Yep.
goals and extra points, and that's kind of where that's how we started in Georgia. You know, going out for the extra points in PAT. So
I have
yeah.
I have the NFL Sunday ticket. I just haven't watched one of their
So,
games.
You know, I've been lucky enough to watch. You know, the Colts have been on TV a couple of times, so it was great to watch what Quiddy's doing.
Yeah.
You know, he's on a contract year. You don't know what direction they're going to go with in his life. You know what's happened, so we'll see. But I'm going with the Saints just because I don't
Because of
care,
X.
and so I'm going to pick the guy that I root for, Xavier Truss.
I agree. Another great game. As bad as the Giants Commanders will be, this one is just the opposite. Green Bay's at Denver in a game that has bearing on the Patriots.
Right. You have to root for Green Bay right now, because if both teams win, Denver and New England, Denver still gets the advantage based on strength of schedule, because the Patriots
Lost to the Raiders.
They lost to the Raiders. So that's going to impact their placing.
Monday night, Dolphins, Pittsburgh. Another interesting game.
I don't know why Mike Tomlinson is still a coach. I don't understand that.
People have been saying that for 9 years,
Yeah.
10 years.
Yes, they just, I don't know. He claps on the sidelines. He says a couple of coaching cliches, and that's it.
He gets away with it.
He gets away with it. He's got Aaron Rodgers, and
It wasn't too bad. I wasn't an Aaron Rodgers fan.
I was never an Aaron Rodgers fan, and then I watched that episode on Netflix, like Being Aaron Rodgers or whatever that was. It was interesting. You know, it didn't make me like him any better or any worse. It was just interesting to see how he came from.
If for no other reason, I want the Steelers to win that game simply to cool Miami down. They've won, 5 in a row or 5 of their last 6?
Well,
or
this guy
something?
finally woke up. He figures his job's on the line. He can't act like a
If there's
weirdo.
anybody that doesn't look like a football coach, it's him.
I can't take him seriously with those stupid skinny
Yeah.
pants.
Oh,
Those
Well, first of all,
stupid glasses.
he's skinny.
Yeah, but that's
He's
fine.
got those glasses there.
He wears
nerd
those,
glasses.
He
He's
wears
just-
those pants at the bottom, or they cuff at the
what
bottom.
are
and
they
then-
called? Pedal pushers?
Whatever they are.
What are they called?
Then he wraps them up around his knees, like he's walking on the beach with his girlfriend. You know, long sandy walks on the beach. It looks like Mike McDaniel.
Right. Right. I don't know. He's just an odd. He's a good character though. I think he's an interesting character.
So he looks Miami-ish.
Yeah, he's fitting where he is. You know.
Just the atypical football coach. You
Oh,
look,
totally.
at, you look at Mike Vrabel. You look at him.
Andy Reid.
Who's
Andy
gonna
Reid is.
who's gonna win a fight? Vrabel?
No, I guarantee the
Was
other
he
guy
the nerd in high school?
No, he went to Yale. He was a defensive back, I think, in Yale. He played football in college. He was
hit a lot,
on
didn't
Kyle
he?
Shanahan's. I think he was on Shanahan's
Staff.
staff. Yeah, they came from San Francisco.
So he didn't play flag football then.
No, he played football. He played football. Well, Lou Holtz was not a strapping guy. Lou Holtz, he was small in stature and skinny. Yeah, and he was great.
Jerry
coach.
Jones the same way when he played with what's his name at Oklahoma?
Yep. Yeah.
What
Jimmy
was-
Johnson.
No, yeah, Jimmy
Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah. little thicker. He was thicker. He's a little broader guy. McDaniels he's a tiny little guy, but hey, he does something right. He's making a lot more money than I am right now.
Final question.
You never know, though.
Thought-provoking question for the both of you. If there was one NFL coach that you do not want to pick a fight with, who would it be? I've got my choice.
Dan Campbell
That's my choice.
or Mike Vrabel, to be honest with
Dan Campbell has enough loose screws up here. I love the man. I think he's tremendous.
Nope, I know somebody.
Who you got, Boots?
Harbaugh.
you. Harbaugh's
He looks
truly
like
crazy.
that's what I'm thinking. I'm not thinking bulkiness. I'm not thinking strength. I'm thinking
Craziness.
bat crazy, like loony bin crazy. Like he'd get on top of you and just start pummeling you. He'd get you down on the ground and he just wouldn't stop. And you're not getting him off because he's just going to go wild.
I met
He's
him.
crazy. You did?
Yeah, and I've met him twice. He was recruiting, and he wasn't recruiting. He was recruiting Xavier at that point. So he was in. So on the real story. So I go to Hendrick, and it wasn't even a practice. We called a meeting. So we go into the coach's office, which was really small, and so we walked in, and there's Dan Brown, which we knew he was the defensive coordinator at the time. We knew Coach Brown forever because he's a local guy, and then beyond the corner, sitting down, is Jim Harbaugh. And he's exactly what you think. He's exactly khaki pants, blue shirt, glasses, baseball hat, exactly what so we brought Xavier in, and I was totally nervous because like Don Brown was no big, all right, we've seen him. But Harbaugh, I remember him playing in college and watching him in the pros, the cardiac kid. I mean, I remember him playing. So I was a little fanboy-ish. So I said, I'm a big fan until Quiddy graduates because then I'm going back to Alabama. And then so I didn't know what to say. So I just said something stupid.
Bad.
Yeah, no. Yeah, that's what it was. And then so he was really great. And then probably the next year we were at Michigan and it was a Sunday after the Notre Dame game. And so I was walking the other coaches around, showing them around the Hendricken guys. And because we went the year before. So we knew our way around a little bit. So we're walking into the Schembechler. We're seeing where the museum is, and Harbaugh is walking in. And so one of the coaches, hey, coach, and hey, it's the coaches for Quiddy's coaches. He goes, hey, come on in. You want to take a tour? And he gave us a tour of their football operations building, which was awesome. And so that's a couple of times. He's always gracious and humble, regular guy, really. Loves football, and I think that's kind of where they all have that passion.
But give me Dan Campbell.
Yeah, I think Dan Campbell whip everyone. That's my. No, well, Vrabel, I think is I don't know. Those two guys could go at it. It might be a
Who's
good
that?
scrap. Vrabel and Campbell.
Yeah.
That'd be a good one.
It'd be a great tag team, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Oh.
back old school.
WWF
Old
champions.
school. Bring it back. WWE.
John Cena's last match tonight. By the way.
That's right.
John Cena.
Tears in
Sure.
my eyes.
Sure.
Who's he wrestling?
I think I'm going on. What time? are we going on? 10?
Pavlov. I don't know.
Pavlov's dog.
Yeah. I gotta.
I've lost my will to watch.
Yeah, I was a big
WWF.
WCW
Hey,
Turner Broadcasting.
Brett Ryan Gosling's show premieres this week.
Is he doing a show?
Yeah, the winning circle, BRG.
Oh, there you go. Who's producing that?
Ben.
His own. Really?
Well, I
Yeah.
can't be everywhere.
Yeah, I know. Well, shame
we
on
have
you.
we have basketball games on Monday, Wednesday, Friday this week, so I can't be everywhere producing. and
Yeah, but that's
directing.
neat. Oh, good. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna talk wrestling.
Talk wrestling.
All wrestling.
All wrestling. And bring people in, different wrestlers in. He's got a lot of connections.
You can get Ric
Unfortunately-
Flair. Let me know if we can get Ric Flair. I might show up. there.
Unfortunately, poor Brett Ryan Gosling took a big hit last Saturday night. Separated his shoulder, his right shoulder, and possibly torn a labrum. So he's out of commission for a while. But he's going to be doing his talk show, though.
That's good. Healthier.
Yeah.
A lot
That's what I
healthier.
keep telling him. Going to commentary, pal.
Right.
Screw this wrestling crap.
Tony Schiavone. That's going back 100 years ago.
So we do have games this week.
We do have games this week.
Premiering our games.
We'll be at Coventry on Monday and Friday. Monday for Middletown and Friday for the Okers and Westerly. And we're at West Warwick on Wednesday night for Juanita Sanchez and the West Warwick girls, who are going to face an uphill struggle because of injuries. And we're talking major injuries.
Yeah, major injuries. And they're, one of those situations we talked about this at the start of the show about it's Scholastic League and alignments. is great case in point. West Warwick's in Division One. They don't belong in Division One at all. We just don't have the numbers. We don't have the strong basketball foundation. Head coach Steve Lawton in West Warwick. Girls basketball has always been a strong program throughout the years, but it is starting to dwindle a little bit. I think the coaches do everything they can to encourage, girls to play basketball. But just as is right now, we lose. If you're a good basketball player and you want to, we're losing some really talented kids like Perez and like
Lauren
Basquet,
Busquet.
to those private schools. We're losing them. Like we're losing very good athletes on the female side to pathway schools and to private schools. Takes a big hit. Those two kids we can hang in one.
Absolutely.
Not now.
Well, that does it for the premiere edition of 321 Sports Talk. Johnny Boots, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thanks, John.
Mike, thank you. I'm John Parenti.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for being with us.
See you.